Welcome. Hi, my name is Daisy, and today I'm going to be reacting to Dr. Shereene's video on Microneedling 101. For you guys who don't know me, I was the original YouTube creator on this channel. I started it in 2012, and I've suffered with really bad acne all my life, worked really hard to get rid of it, and then I was left with a ton of acne scars. So I treated my acne scars with something a plastic surgeon had recommended to me, which was microneedling with vitamin C on top of it. And when I did this, my YouTube channel, everyone had so many questions on it. Everyone wanted to know what I was using, all that kind of stuff. And long story short, I created my own kit called the Banish Kit that I launched in 2012. So we've been in business for over 11 years. I know a lot about microneedling because that is what I live, breathe, eat. And I've been doing it for 11 years. And so I like to react to a lot of derms videos because derms can give a different point of view. But we also have to know that derms, they just have a very wide breadth of knowledge. Like their breadth of knowledge is very, very wide. Whereas I feel like my depth of knowledge, literally and figuratively, is very, very deep because that's all I do. Like I just do microneedling. I come up with microneedling products. I don't do anything else. And so I want to give my take and react to videos on the internet about microneedling.
Questions regarding at-home microneedling devices, and I thought to myself, no better time than the present to actually address at-home microneedling. Before we begin, this is a topic and a procedure that when done at home, human nature tends to think more is more. And I have seen cases where people have gone to town on their faces, especially in my practice, and people get post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, worsening of acne scars. So before anything, the biggest take home here is less is more, and be very careful when you have this device in your hand.
So this is I totally agree with Dr. Shereene on this. Less is definitely more with microneedling. I always give the analogy like going to the gym, building muscle, all of that. You don't want to go to the gym and lift a weight that is too heavy for you. You're going to injure yourself. Likewise, you don't want to do 2 heavy leg days in a row. You need time for your muscles to recover. What you want to do at the gym is just kind of tear those muscle fibers apart without injuring yourself and then let those muscles recover. That's how you get stronger. Very similar to, the collagen underneath your skin. Now, there's so much marketing about like vampire facials and about Morpheus 8 and about these crazy like big ass derma rollers because people think the bigger the better, and it's just a marketing scheme because people want instant results. People want to see like trauma happening on their skin because they think it's going to have more of an effect, but that is not the case. Okay, you really have to think of it like building muscle in the gym. Gradually, consistently, just one threshold above what you're comfortable with, but that's it.
At-home microneedling devices look like torture devices because they are legit barrels with hundreds of needles popping out of them, but you can really torture your skin in the process. When you look at the studies of the benefits of at-home microneedling, the real studies show benefits of needles that go beyond 1.5 millimeters, which are usually not offered with at-home microneedling devices. At-home microneedling devices usually...
I don't know of a study that says 1.5 millimeters is better for you. In fact, 0.5 millimeters is the best length to build collagen. Okay, so they've done studies on patients who had 2 millimeters rolled on them. They had studies done of 1 millimeter and then 0.5 millimeter, and they found that the 0.5 was the best. Why? Because your skin isn't even actually that thick. Your skin is only about like 1 millimeter, if any. Underneath the skin, there's layers of other stuff, including fat. So when you go too deep, you're not really doing anything to the skin, right? You just want to trigger that collagen production without creating more trauma underneath the skin, especially with something like Morpheus 8, where that heat and that radio frequency can actually melt the fat from your face. And I've seen so much horror story about like people doing Morpheus 8 around their eyes, which, guys, the layer of skin underneath your eyes is the absolute thinnest. So no, don't go there, okay? And like literally like their fat was melted from their eyes and they got like really sunken in eyes. So I'm not sure, Dr. Shereene, what study you're referring to. I would love to hear that from you. But from my research, 0.5 is the best. And I have a video I will link here or here where you can, where I go more into that because that would take me like another 20 minutes.
Range from 0.2 to 0.5 millimeters in depth. and not beyond that. Because beyond that, you really do have to numb the surface of your skin, and it needs to be done under the supervision of a professional, because a lot of bad things can happen to your face and your skin in the process, and you really have to do it in a controlled setting. So at home.
So it's actually really interesting when she talks about bad things. I'm curious to think what it could be. Obviously, there could be risk for bleeding, right? When you go too deep in the skin, you're going to bleed. But what's actually crazy is the stratum corneum. There's a study. Hold on, let me pull it up. There's a study that says that the stratum corneum of your skin actually closes within 15 minutes of like any kind of proliferation of wound healing. So this is why I always say, like, when you're using a microneedling device or, you know, the banisher, I like to divide my face into 4 sections: microneedle, and then put on the vitamin C serum on top, because guess what? Those holes are only open for a little bit of time, okay? It's actually been studied that they're not open for a long time, so put that serum on right after.
Home devices have never really had the proven track record of helping with deeper skin issues like acne scarring.
Okay, so she's saying home devices have never have the track record. So there's several different studies on microneedling at home, or just microneedling with a 0.5 millimeter device. And it has been proven to show improvement in the appearance in the collagen of the skin. Like, they actually did a biopsy of the skin after microneedling. They saw that there was increased collagen in there. Okay, so there have been home studies, or studies of at home. Obviously, there have been also more professional studies, because when there's a budget to be able to do these studies, there's going to be more of these studies, right? But there's plenty of studies out there that talk about wound healing, that talk about microneedling devices, all of that.
Scarring. The fact that they're so superficial basically means they're scratching the surface of your skin. Can you get benefit from that is the question. And although the studies haven't really studied them in depth that much, I have not really seen anything that shows at 0.3 millimeter you're going to have collagen remodeling. Anecdotally, in my practice, I have had patients who also swear by these devices and swear that they feel their skin looks better. And I've seen pictures where their skin actually over time does look better. So I do think there is merit to it in helping your products work better for you. But I think if you have really deep acne scarring, you're going to be caught in some basic whirlwind of a loophole, because you're not really going to be helping the deeper collagen remodel. So that is
So I'm a little confused, because she's saying the deeper collagen remodel. Like, are you saying the collagen that's deeper than a 1 millimeter? Because, okay, I'm just going to pull this up. Basically, they did this. What article is this called? This is called Skin Proliferation Stimulated by Microneedles, okay? And honestly, doing it in a professional setting and doing it at home, to be honest, it's not too much of a difference. But you can see here, that was the skin, okay? And 0.5 was that needle length. So the collagen was right here in the skin. So when you're saying deeper collagen production, let's see. Okay, so I have this image pulled up on my iPad. So basically, the skin is only about like 1.3 millimeters thick on the skin. And then if you look at the layers of the skin, underneath the skin, you have your fat. Okay, so your skin is not, like, people think like they need to go deeper. People think that doing it professionally is very different because it can go deeper, but you're just getting the fat, not the actual skin.
Overall view of at-home microneedling devices. So let's jump in. So like I said, the biggest benefits are that they can help with very superficial.
So the reason why the patients have seen a great result with at-home microneedling is because it works. The data is there. I will want to say that at-home microneedling, like, there hasn't been a big company to take it over, and like, thank goodness, because Banish, we've been doing it. But we don't have millions of dollars laying around to do all these studies with at-home microneedling. So I actually emailed there's different like places that will do these studies. There's so many good studies, and including in these publications and like Dr. Sutterfield's book, I don't feel like it was needed to spend $500,000 on doing a study, you know, because it does cost a lot of money. You need to have like an advisor, you need to have patients, control groups, all these people. And for a small business, we'd rather spend that money like developing better products, better formulations, than conducting a study. So I do think there will be more studies out there as more brands get into microneedling. But right now, there's just not as many as like more professional services.
Fine lines, very superficial textural issues, things that are not extremely deep. And in the process, they can make your products work slightly better for you because they're gonna allow for your products to penetrate a little bit better under the surface of your skin. But this is a double-edged sword.
So this is really interesting because people think microneedling is all about getting the products into your skin, but it's actually not that. It's actually the wound healing response in your skin that triggers collagen production. An accessory is the like putting the skincare on top, but that's not as important as people think. It's just that mechanical part of doing the skin. So anyways, here's this image of the depth of the needles. Okay, so you can see medical needling, when you get too deep, it doesn't really do anything. So what I mean by this is this was a biopsy of skin, all right? This was needling with skincare. This was needling by itself. This was skincare by itself, and this was nothing, the control group. So if you see here, needling even without the skincare did produce a great result in terms of the thickness of the skin, right? Because just by skincare, it didn't do that much. So needling actually is more important than the actual skincare you use afterwards. Obviously, you don't want to use something that will cause an infection or like a bad product, but the active needling itself is actually enough. And then if you want to get like a boost, you put on the product, but it seems like Dr. Shereene is saying that the skincare on top is like more important than the needling itself, in which I disagree with.
Because let's say you're microneedling at night and then you want to apply a retinol and you're slightly sensitive. Are you going to be more sensitive to that retinol, and is that retinol going to actually cause irritation in your skin? So I think before you go crazy applying a bunch of products after microneedling, really make sure that your skin can tolerate the products without microneedling first, and then slow your way into it by just applying one product at a time so that you don't introduce different products and end up with a alert.
Definitely. I actually don't use retinol, and it's because my skin is just I don't use Retin-A because it just doesn't work for me. I have really thick skin that doesn't really turn over that easily. So I can use like, retinol, but not Retin-A. Regardless, I don't use retinol after microneedling because my skin is so sensitive. I can't tolerate it. I only do vitamin C or like just a moisturizer, like the vitamin C cream or like a vitamin C serum. But other than that, I don't put anything on top. Like I don't put glycolic acid on top. I don't put retinol on top, and I wouldn't recommend it unless like retinol really works for you and your skin can tolerate it, but just be careful, like you're gonna be sensitive.
Allergic contact dermatitis, because now your skin is sensitized to all of these different ingredients. The other thing I'm gonna have to say is that if you have an active acne breakout, if you have rosacea, or if you have eczema or an inflammatory condition, avoid it, because you can further spread bacteria, you can further worsen your acne, you can actually make your eczema worse by further inflaming and breaking your skin barrier. If you have an active infection like a cold sore, avoid it, because you're gonna make that infection worse and you might spread it to other parts of your face where you can get cold sores on other parts of your face, not just around your mouth. If you have extremely sensitive skin, I would approach extremely cautiously and not.
Yeah, so definitely no matter what, if you have an infection or something weird or something funky, do not derma roll, derma stamp, microneedle over it, okay? Do not, no, not. And this is why I created the Banisher 2.0, 3.0. I started selling derma rollers, but then I moved and created my own device because I felt like people were just rolling over active acne. So yeah, just go over sections. This one is great because you can just really target the areas that you want to microneedle. The other day, like 2 days ago, I had these terrible cold sores on here. So I actually was going to microneedle and I decided against it. So that was probably a good decision. But yeah, just make sure, like, when in doubt, if it seems like an infection, seems like something's weird going on, that is not your day to microneedle.
Approach extremely cautiously and not use this with skincare products on the same night other than something extremely basic like a very basic moisturizer or even Vaseline to help with barrier repair, but I would not marry it with a complex skincare routine. And last, if you have darker skin tones, you really do have to be careful with at-home microneedling devices, because I have seen in my practice people get post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation from them, where they end up getting more darkening of their skin, especially if they have acne marks, and worsening of their acne scarring in the process. And you want to make sure that you're doing this really in a very controlled and thoughtful manner. What do you want to...
Yeah, so don't be derma rolling with like a 4mm and just like roll. And again, this is why I created the Banisher. This is why I created the Banisher 3.0, because people just kept like doing this, okay? Like, and again, the biggest myth, as Dr. Shereene said, is people think more is more, and it's not. People think like pushing more is more. No. But I will say that microneedling is one of the best things, and there's actually published studies on this, especially for Asian skin. So effective for people of color. I know myself, like I could not get lasers. I can't do a lot of chemical peels. I know people of color can't. Because they're very prone to hyperpigmentation. So if you got dark skin, don't be afraid to microneedle, just don't go crazy, okay? Remember, less is more.
Want to look for when looking for at-home microneedling devices. Other than the length of the needle, the material in which you are buying is actually very important. Whether the needles are made of stainless steel or titanium makes a difference. The biggest pros of titanium are that they are stronger by 50% compared to stainless steel. So that means they're less likely to bend, they're less likely to get blunted, they're more likely to stand the test of time. But the bigger negative with titanium is that they're not as easy to clean. And because they tend to last longer, you really have to be diligent in the cleaning process, making sure you're sterilizing the needles so that you're not reintroducing any form of bacteria or virus into your skin by puncturing your skin. So you really have to be a very responsible human to use the titanium needles.
So the Banisher, we've always had titanium needles, because Banish 3.0, Banish has the thinnest needles on the market, because again, I don't believe we need to induce more trauma, right? Less is definitely more. So on the flip side, they are titanium. And in terms of being easy to clean, this one's super easy to clean, much easier to clean than a derma roller, because here you have a cap where you just actually add alcohol in here and you just snap this on and it will clean the needles for you. Also, these heads are replaceable. So in your Banish kit 3.0, it comes with 2 replaceable heads. So when you're done using it and you want to replace it, you don't got to buy a whole new device.
Stainless steel needles, on the other hand, are much more hygienic. You can clean them much easier. They are much easier to clean than titanium, and they tend to be sharper compared to...
So I'm not exactly sure what she means by much easier to clean.
Compared to titanium, but they are softer and they can bend. And once they bend, you have to throw them out, because you're only going to drag those needles on your skin, causing scratches and inflammation, and really not getting what you're trying to achieve out of microneedling. So you're gonna have to change them.
So please, if you don't get much from this video, make sure to replace your heads, because eventually they will, snag or whatever, right? It's like a shaving razor blade. Obviously, it's not going to be sharp forever. So replace it. When in doubt, replace it. It's honestly not worth, like, these replaceable heads from Vanish cost $20. So it's honestly not worth risking your skin creating more scarring for saving 20 bucks.
Change them more in the long run, which can lead to more waste overall. So those are the biggest differences in the actual material between the different types of microneedling devices. How do you keep your devices clean? As soon as you use them, you clean them. You do not let them sit. You clean them with 70% isopropyl alcohol. You can also do a once a week cleaning with any kind of like denture cleansing tablet. Let it soak in warm water and that denture cleansing tablet, and make sure that whenever you clean them, you dry it really well, because it is metal. And if you leave water on metal over time, it can rust, and you do not want to introduce rust into your skin. And that's
why I always recommend cleaning it with 70% alcohol, because alcohol evaporates like this, okay?
Should you use these devices? At night, after you've washed your face and you have really cleansed your skin. And do not do this before applying makeup because we definitely do not want to clog our pores. So make sure you're doing it at the end of the day when you know you're in for the night and you're not going to go out again. Your hands should be clean. That is one that is often overlooked. And when you are using these microneedling devices, make sure that they're being applied at a 90-degree angle around the surface of your skin, because when you go...
Yeah, so I always microneedle at night. It literally takes me 3 minutes. And usually what I do nowadays is I just target different areas. So right now I'm working on this thing and then this thing. And it just literally, like, I just stamp. And it takes me 3 minutes. I do it after I brush my teeth. I make sure your hands are washed. I put an alcohol wipe on top of my face. I cleanse my face with an alcohol wipe even before microneedling, just to be extra cautious. But yeah, don't do it in the beginning of the day. Don't do it when you got a fancy night out. I like to do it like maybe 2 nights before a fancy night out. Like if you're having picture day, you're going on a hot date, doing a photo shoot, do this 2 to 3 nights before and your skin will just look so glowing. Everyone's gonna ask you what you're on.
Because when you go at different angles with it, you're gonna cause dragging, it might cause scratching, it might cause, like I just said, further worsening of inflammation. So you wanna stay at 90 degrees as you're applying it all over your face. You wanna go horizontally, you wanna go vertically, I just did that opposite, and you wanna go diagonally so you can get all different directions while staying at 90 degrees, okay? That's how you use it. So that is my spiel on microneedling.
So this is why I created, again, instead of a derma roller, because the needles come at different degrees. And you can see with this banana photo, like the risk of tram track scarring, all of that. This one, 90 degrees. And what I like to do is I will push out, push out, push out. So I just kind of rotate it. So it gets like 220 different spots on that certain area. Okay. So you just want to kind of really concentrate it there. Don't rotate it in, push out, rotate, push out, rotate. Okay. So yeah, get it at 90 degrees.
Again, be careful if you have active infections, herpes, eczema, rosacea, acne. If you're of a darker skin tone, be careful. Make sure you wear sunscreen the next day, especially if you're darker skin toned. And if you have sensitive skin, approach with caution. So the 4 biggest microneedling devices on the market that people tend to ask me about and that I've seen as being the most popular. Number 1 is the Aura Microneedle Face Full Body Roller Kit. It comes with a roller handle and 4 heads, so it's not really 6 pieces, but this is interesting because it's much larger. You can actually use this on your body. With the larger body head, it has 1,200 needles on that roller, plus they go down to 1 millimeter in depth.
So I have the Beauty Bio roller. That one, it's a derma roller. It's $200 and it's just the derma roller, right? The derma, it's a derma roller, which I didn't want to get. Actually, I had the manufacturer ask me if I wanted to put LED mechanism on the device. He was telling me that I could sell it for a lot more. It would look fancier. I simply, personally for me, LED, I've not seen the results from it. There's a lot of controversy over whether LED actually works and how long you need it on the face. But regardless, if it only takes me 3 minutes to microneedle my face, that 3 minutes of LED is not going to like do anything. Okay. Like if I do LED, I will do an LED mask. I don't do LED, but maybe if I ever get into it. So yeah, I guess the studies on LED is very conflicting, or there's not enough data to prove that LED really has an effect on collagen production. Okay, so basically Dr. Shereene, she just went over some microneedling rollers. You guys already know my opinion about rollers, so I don't want to have to repeat myself. So she did talk about a few microneedling devices, but yeah, I hope that helped. Again, I think when getting professional opinions, to just get multiple professional opinions. Every single dermatologist will have their own way of viewing things, will have done different research on doing things. And for me, again, all I know and all I breathe and eat is microneedling. So my depth of my knowledge of microneedling is like really, really deep, right? Whereas maybe a derm would just know kind of generally like everything about the skin. So this is why I really wanted to create my own kit and my own device and whatnot. But I just want to tell you guys, like, don't be afraid to microneedle. Before I started this business, on my YouTube channel, I would get so many private messages from people saying like, Daisy, I've heard your story. I've heard your struggle. I know like acne scarring is really affecting your life and how you view yourself. Try microneedling, try derma rolling. And I didn't want to do it because I was so scared. I was so scared. And when I did do it, I noticed more improvement on my skin from microneedling at home than I did with anything else out there. And I've done everything, I've done everything. And that was the one thing that has helped my skin. So for me, it was always my mission to create an at-home device that's not scary. And even the branding and the marketing and what we do in these videos, I don't want to make it scary because I don't want you to be like how I was when I was so scared of it. I want it to be like a regular thing. And I feel so lucky that we have more derms talking about it. We have more people talking about it, but I feel like we still have a way to go to make it more approachable and to not have people scared of it. It's really not scary. Do it with the right device, do it safely, but seriously, it has changed my skin and my life, and I really want to give that gift back to you guys. So anyways, that's my whole spiel. So thank you all so much for watching. Let me know if there's any other videos, research articles, whatever you want me to react on, and I will talk to you guys later.